So today's lecture is mechanism of breathing. So we will discuss inspiration, expiration, changes in the size of thoracic cavity and changes in respiratory pressures. Now what is inspiration? So remember, it is an active process and it is due to contraction of few muscles which are called inspiratory muscles. During inspiration, there is increase in diameter of our thoracic cavity. Now there are various diameters. The vertical diameter is increased due to downward movement of the diaphragm. Transverse diameter is increased due to bucket handle type of effect. Now what is bucket handle type of effect? We will discuss it. It is due to movement of the ribs, and anteroposterior diameter is increased due to pump handle effect. Again we will discuss what is pump handle effect. Now the normal inspiration is also called normal tidal inspiration. Means inspiration in resting position without any exertion. Now in normal inspiration, main role is played by diaphragm muscle. Approximately 75% contribution is by diaphragm muscle and rest is by external intercostal muscles. Now there are few muscles which are called accessory muscles of inspiration. They are especially used during forceful inspiration, especially during exercise. They are scalene muscles, sternocleidomastoid muscle, serratus anterior muscle, and Allen-Azzi muscles. So these four muscles are accessory muscles of inspiration. Now see what is pump handle and bucket handle movements. So see the first diagram. There is a bucket with a handle. Now compare this handle of the bucket with our ribs. So when ribs move upwards, just like bucket handle, it will increase the diameter of thorax. Here it will increase transverse diameter. So elevation of the ribs with increase in the transverse diameter of the thoracic cavity is called bucket handle type of movement. Second is pump handle movement. We all know water pump. So you can see the diagram of a pump. Now our sternum is just like the handle of water pump. So during inspiration, the sternum moves anteriorly and upward, and it will increase anteroposterior diameter of the thoracic cavity. So this type of movement of the sternum is called pump handle movement. Now what about expiration? So again the normal expiration is also called normal tidal expiration. It is largely a passive process, so there is no muscle involved in normal expiration. Now it occurs automatically due to elastic recoil of the lungs. So there will be decrease in the size of the thoracic cavity due to relaxation of diaphragm and external intercostal muscles. So there is no active contraction of any muscle. It is a passive process. However, during forceful expiration, few muscles are required. So muscles of the forceful expiration are abdominal muscles and internal intercostal muscles. Beside the role of these muscles in forced expiration, they are also involved in some other forceful expiratory efforts like coughing, vomiting, defecation, and Valsalva maneuver. Now carefully watch the diagram. You will find anatomy of various respiratory muscles. In anatomy lectures and anatomy dissections, you have seen the location of these muscles like internal intercostal muscles, external intercostal muscles, then diaphragm, various abdominal muscles. So after watching fibers directions, you will be able to imagine why external intercostal muscles are elevating the ribs and internal intercostal muscles are depressing the ribs, and how location and movement of the diaphragm is contributing much to our respiration. Another one anatomical diagram showing muscles of normal inspiration, forceful inspiration, muscles of forceful expiration. So in the first diagram, it is end of expiration. You can see diaphragm is relaxed. While in the second diagram, it is the end of inspiration. So here diaphragm is contracted. So in general, during inspiration or inhalation, what happens? Diaphragm descends downwards, ribs are elevated, and sternum is carried slightly anteriorly and upward. So there will be increase in the transverse diameter, anteroposterior diameter, as well as vertical diameter of the thoracic cavity. And during expiration, which is a passive process, diaphragm comes to normal relaxed position, ribs will come to depressed normal position, sternum will move to normal position posteriorly, so there will be decrease in transverse diameter, anteroposterior diameter and vertical diameter of thoracic cavity. Now see this animation, how diaphragm is moving during inspiration and expiration. Now see the movements of the ribs, how intercostal muscles behave and how they elevate and depress the ribs. So again remember, diaphragm is doing changes in the vertical diameter of the thorax, while ribs movements are changing transverse diameter of the thorax, and sternum movement is changing anteroposterior diameter of the thorax. And remember, inspiration is an active process and expiration is a passive process. Now see the difference between inspiration and expiration. During inspiration, the volume of the thoracic cavity increases, and you all know volume is inversely proportional to the pressure. So whenever volume increases, pressure decreases. Reverse thing happen during expiration. Volume decreases and pressure increases. This is a normal ventilation or normal breathing. Now let us discuss pressure and volume changes during respiratory cycle. Before discussing the pressure part, we must discuss anatomy of pleura. During anatomy dissection of the thorax, you may have seen pleura. It is a covering layer surrounding our lungs. There are two layers in the pleura. The inner layer, which is adjacent to our lung surface, is called visceral layer or visceral pleura, while the outer layer is called parietal pleura. Between visceral pleura and parietal pleura, there is a closed cavity which is called pleural cavity, and it is filled with pleural fluid. See this diagram showing visceral pleura and parietal pleura, and between these two pleura there is a pleural cavity filled by pleural fluid. Now inside this pleural cavity, the pressure is called intrapleural pressure. Now this area is closed all around, and normally it is having a negative pressure. So what is pleural pressure? So pleural pressure is the pressure of the fluid in the thin space between visceral pleura and parietal pleura. This is normally a slight suction, which means a slightly negative pressure. The normal pleural pressure at the beginning of the inspiration is about minus 5 centimeter of water, which is the amount of the suction required to hold the lungs open to their resting level. Now, this pleural fluid is continuously sucked by our lymphatic drainage system. And you all know lungs are elastic structures like balloon. Now, thoracic wall is also elastic structure due to muscles and tendons. So, lung have tendency to go inward and thoracic wall have tendency to go outward. So, due to opposite movements of lungs and thoracic wall, the pleural cavity is having negative pressure, which is called pleural pressure. So, when we start inspiration, due to expansion of the chest wall outwards, this pleural pressure will become further negative. So from normal value of minus 5 centimeter during start of the inspiration, at the end of the inspiration it will become minus 7.5 centimeter of water. And during expiration, the entire process is reversed. Again it will become minus 5 centimeter of water. You can see the normal tendency of the lung is to go inward due to elastic properties, and normal tendency of our thoracic wall is to go outwards also due to elastic properties, because of which the in between pleural space containing pleural fluid is having negative pressure. This simple experiment will clear your concepts regarding negative pleural pressure. Now see, there is a glass jar in which there is one balloon, and in lower part of the jar it has been filled with another rubber balloon. So it will behave like a diaphragm. You can pull it, so just like descent of the diaphragm it will behave. So whenever diaphragm descends downwards during inspiration, the pleural pressure will become more negative, and therefore our lungs will expand due to this pleural suction. So you can see the balloon inside the jar is inflating during first diagram, inspiration diagram. While in the second diagram, diaphragm relaxes, diaphragm goes upward. So the pressure inside the pleural cavity will increase, and therefore it will compress the lungs, and lungs will do expiration. So exactly these things happen inside our thoracic cavity. This wall of this glass jar is actually our thoracic wall. Now inside the balloon is our lungs, and in the lower part the red color rubber part is our diaphragm. Now carefully concentrate on the graphs. See the first one, which is showing pleural pressure. Now during starting of the inspiration, it is minus 5 centimeter of water, and then as the inspiration further goes on, it will become minus 7.5 centimeter of water. It will become more negative, and during expiration reverse changes happen, and again the pleural pressure will become minus 5 centimeter of water. Now see the middle graph showing alveolar pressure. So what is alveolar pressure? It is the pressure of the air inside our alveoli. So you can see during the inspiration, at the starting point it is 0. Now here 0 means it is equal to atmospheric pressure. Now during inspiration it will become slightly negative, approximately near -1. So the pressure inside alveoli of the lung is lower than atmospheric pressure, which may result in sucking of atmospheric air into our lungs, and we are calling this process as inspiration. Then during expiration, you can see the alveolar pressure is towards positive side more than 0. So obviously now alveolar pressure is more than atmospheric pressure. So it will push the air out of the lungs into external atmosphere. So we are taking in and taking out due to this change in alveolar pressures during inspiration and expiration respectively. Now see lowermost graph showing change in volume of the lungs. So during inspiration you can see approximately 0.5 liter of the air is entering into the lungs, and this same 0.5 liter of the air is coming out of lungs during expiration. So we are calling this 0.5 liter as tidal volume. So normal tidal volume is 500 ml or 0.5 liter. It is the volume of the air coming in or coming out of our lungs during normal respiration. Again there is a graph showing lung volume changes, alveolar pressure changes and pleural pressure changes that we have already described. Now in this diagram one more pressure is showing, that is transpulmonary pressure. You can see there is not a separate line of transpulmonary pressure. Actually it is a difference between two pressures. So transpulmonary pressure, as you can see by blue areas, it is the difference between alveolar pressure and pleural pressure. So remember and don't confuse, there is not a separate pressure like transpulmonary pressure. It is just difference between these two pressures. Now what is the definition of alveolar pressure? So it is the pressure of the air inside the lung alveoli. So when the glottis is open and no air is moving into or out of the lungs, the pressure in all parts of the respiratory tree all the way up to alveoli are equal to atmospheric pressure, and we are considering it as a 0. So it is 0 centimeter of water. Now to cause inward flow of the air into the alveoli during inspiration, the pressure in the alveoli must fall to a value slightly below atmospheric pressure, means below 0. During normal inspiration, the alveolar pressure decreases to about -1 centimeter of water, and this slight negative pressure is enough to pull 500 ml of the air into the lungs in approximately 2 seconds, which is the time required for normal quiet inspiration. Then, during expiration, opposite pressures occur. The alveolar pressure increases to about +1 centimeter of water, and this forces 0.5 liter of inspired air out of the lungs within 2 to 3 seconds of normal expiration. So expiration is taking more time than inspiration due to passive process. So far what we have discussed is shown in these diagrams. Now you can see in the first diagram the barometric air pressure is equal to alveolar pressure, and there is no movement of the air in or out of the lungs. Now in the second diagram, the thoracic volume is increasing. It results in increase in the alveolar volume. Now volume is inversely proportional to pressure. So obviously there will be decreased alveolar pressure. Now barometric pressure of the air is more than alveolar pressure. So air is moving into the lungs. So this is our normal inspiration. Then see the third one. This is the point of end of inspiration. At the point of end of inspiration, again alveolar pressure will become equal to atmospheric pressure, means 0, and no air will move into or out of lungs. And then see the last one. Here expiration has started, so you can see there is decreased thoracic volume which results in decreased alveolar volume. Again volume is inversely proportional to the pressure, so it will lead to increase in alveolar pressure. Now alveolar pressure is more than atmospheric pressure, so air will move out of the lungs. We have seen in the graph about transpulmonary pressure. So it is a difference between alveolar pressure and pleural pressure. It is the pressure difference between that in the alveoli and that on the outer surface of the lungs. And it is a measure of elastic forces of the lungs that tend to collapse the lung at each instant of respiration, and therefore it is also called recoil pressure. We have already seen these lung volume changes. So during normal tidal inspiration, the volume of the air in the lung increases by 500 ml, and during normal tidal expiration, the volume of the air in the lungs decreases by 500 ml. So this was all about mechanism of breathing. Thank you.